All right. Welcome back to Statement Games Live. This is episode number 7. My name's Nathan. I'm here with Mark. How are you doing this week, Mark?
I'm doing all right. Having a couple of challenges, but we're getting through it.
All right. Mark, why don't you go into why listeners should be paying attention to this show?
I'll give you three reasons real quick here. We're going to give you an opportunity to win some cash prizes playing a different form of fantasy sports via StatementGames, kind of like .com. Um, you and I, as budding entrepreneurs, living the lifestyle, living the dream here, we're going to kind of like give our listeners some insights on some of the trials and tribulations that we go through on a week in, week out basis. And we're also going to be covering some of the hottest and latest, industry news that's taking place within the gaming place here. So we've put together a format that's a little bit different from your traditional uh, sports, kind of like podcast from a fantasy football, fantasy baseball, hockey, or basketball perspective here. We truly feel that we have something that's a little bit different, and we hope the people enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do enjoy the show, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give the show a thumbs up. Leave a comment with what you liked. So Mark, go into a little more. What's your thoughts for this week?
I'm battling. I'm battling this week here. So one,
Yeah.
my picks still suck. So I guess we'll get into that in a little bit of a second here. And you and I kind of like talked about this offline here. Been getting a lot of you know people kind of like reaching out to me. I'm feeling kind of better. I'm feeling kind of like okay. Yesterday and today is one of the first couple of days here that I really started to feel normal here. But full disclosure, I have tested positive for COVID-19. It's actually kind of like running through my family like a little bit here. We're actually tracking it back to my brother's father-in-law as the host or the culprit, but everybody seems to kind of like be doing fine here. So I thought I was going to nail my picks with a solid 3-0. So the
Mhm.
fact that I am still under 500 and now officially 1 for 5 with my last six picks, and on top of that, be hit with COVID-19 here. Let's just say that I've been I've seen some better weeks, but
Oh,
with that said, here
yeah.
on a bright side, we've gotten two big wins out of
Mm,
the New York Giants and your Detroit Lions. So
yep.
there is some light at the end of the tunnel. And it seems like, hey, you know what? The sun does come out every once in a while after all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, congratulations on your win. I'm gonna, you know, I I got it from you last week, but I'm a little more about setting up my team for future wins. So I'm not super excited about this Lions win. I mean, and the fan base right now is going crazy over this interim coach, which I mean, the purpose of being an interim coach is just to make sure guys play and you see what you have, and then they go away at the end of the season. So, Daryl Bevel, thank you for a win, but don't get too comfortable.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's not like, I mean, if you're sitting down and you're watching that game and you are a Lions fan, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't root for the Bears. I mean, this is a heated, hated division, kind of like a rival.
Hmm.
I kind of feel that, hey, what was it? Was it week one or was it week two? I mean, you went up big on the in the first particular time, and the Bears wound up kind of coming back and pulling the
Yeah,
first game out. Was that week one or was it week? It was either the
I think it
first
was
one
week
of the
two.
first two.
Yeah, one of the first 2 weeks. I'm not sure exactly. I don't think it was the opening.
So you exacted kind of like a little revenge here, and it kind of like plays
Hmm.
into some of the thoughts that you were bringing up last week, and where maybe there was a lot of people on this team that flat out hated kind of like Patricia. So to see the team actually come
Yeah.
out and with a little bit of revived energy and play hard for the new coach here is from a team building perspective here. From that aspect here, you have to have been pleased with that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm absolutely happy with that and the response because Stafford gave the game ball to Bevel. Like it seemed
Hmm.
like the whole team kind of wrapped
Rallied
themselves
around him.
around him. Yeah, rallied around him, and that was cool. I just think that it would have been great if it was a heartbreaking last minute loss, so that we kept our momentum towards the the number one pick as close as possible, while seeing these players do really well, especially for fantasy and whatever. Like if Stafford had been slinging it and they just, just didn't make it, I think that would have been my sweet spot. Which, call me a pessimistic Lions fan, but that is, to me, I just look at the fact that they're now in the middle of the draft, and I don't know what this new GM, whoever they get, is going to do. So it's hard to predict. Like, okay, what are they going to get in that first round, and how is this team going to get any better, and whatnot. So, that's kind of my thinking. But obviously, seeing a Lions win always brings a smile to my face.
Yep. That's true. And unfortunately, regardless of how the remainder of the season plays out here, I know that you had your dreams and your eyes set towards as close to that number one pick as possible here. But given the talent of the New York Jets, I just don't think that's going to be possible. I mean, you want to talk about
Yeah.
teams. I guess I can't really preach this to you or I guess Giant fans here, but you want to talk about teams that literally can invent new ways to lose here. I mean, this has got to be pretty close to it. I mean, just when you actually think you can't get things any worse, walk off last play of the game, all out blitz. Leave a receiver 1-on-1, and I forget who the receiver was who caught that ball, but he actually
Waller. I'm
he
pretty sure
didn't
that was Darren
have.
Waller.
I think you're. I believe it was I think it was number 11. That's kind of like sticking out kind of like in my whole mind here. I could be like wrong here, but uh, 2 turnovers in that game. So definitely kind of like revenge himself, but heartbreaking,
Yeah,
but dumb,
absolutely.
dumb.
Mm-hmm. Well, the defensive coordinator, Gregg G. Williams, got fired because of that, or at least that's what people are saying. It's because of that play, which, it's interesting that he went from the Browns to the Jets, and the Jets are currently, over. So maybe he's just hurt a little bit as a coach.
I mean,
Um,
I think it was the right move. I totally understand it. You can't bring a coach and have that guy stand in the middle of a room the following kind of like in a week and have him preach to his defensive unit about how he's got a plan that's going to actually help them win the upcoming week's game here. There's no way as a player you're going to buy into anything that he actually says from this point moving forward here. So,
mhm.
not to say that Gase isn't that far behind them here, but I think that
Yeah,
was kind of like the right move and just getting in parting ways with Williams now as opposed to towards the end of the year.
gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Well, with moving forward and wins and losses, let's review our picks from last episode.
All right, so last Sunday night,
Mhm.
I'll start with kind of like with my picks here. I guess a little bit of an improvement from the previous week, and where I actually did pick up a correct pick. The one correct pick that I actually have was the Travis Kelce over 6.5 receptions. I was correct with that. He basically had 8 receptions for 136 yards and 1 TD. I wound up taking the Kansas City Chiefs over 32.5 points. Of course, that was incorrect, given that they only scored 22. And I liked the Kansas City Chiefs pretty much like, straight up laying the 14.5 points. So that was actually incorrect, with the final score being the Denver Broncos 16, the Kansas City Chiefs 22. Um, in terms of your picks here, you wind up hitting the nail right on the head here with your Patrick Mahomes under 2.5 TD passes. That was correct. Mahomes went 25 completions on 40 attempts for 318 yards, 1 TD, and no interceptions. You took the Kansas City defense over 2.5 sacks. That was something that was a little kind of like a surprise with. There was actually no sacks by the Kansas City defense kind of like, in that game. And I guess you got a little bit of a raw deal with your Clyde Edwards pick here. You had him over 65.5 rushing yards here. He wound up being a late scratch and wound up not playing in the past Sunday night game. So
Yeah.
as a quick review here, that's what we're actually looking like from this past Sunday night, Denver Broncos versus Kansas City Chiefs. Sunday night football game on Statement Games here, which was sponsored by the IDP guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I'm a little sad that I didn't get another three-peat. But at least we tied, so I didn't technically lose. So we're
And
good here.
I take it we didn't. Do you have your results up here? How did we wind up placing in that tournament?
It wasn't good. I
Wasn't
didn't
pretty.
No, it wasn't pretty. I looked and it said that, the results had been scored. I got that email, but I didn't get any sort of, oh, you placed first, second, or third.
So we didn't
So
place any of the first, second, and third here. So it's not even at this point worth looking at
right,
how
right. I mean,
bad we finished in here. We'll just chalk it up and move on to Bill
I would
Steelers for this
say
Sunday night.
Yeah, I would say as far as competition with statement games, like if you drop four statements, you're probably not looking good uh, in the rankings there. There's
Especially if
some,
you have them pretty high, which the picks that we're actually making, we're ranking them in our top six. So
yeah,
we've gotten two of our top six correct. So even
that
if we
doesn't look
rounded
good.
out the remainder of our picks with correct ones here, it was definitely looking pretty glim.
Gotcha. All right, so let's move forward and get into the news here. Mark, you have some news you wanted to talk about in the soccer world. Let me
I just
pull
thought
up.
from a comic comic relief kind of like perspective, it's as we kind of like go through some of like these headlines here. Let's just kind of like take a step back here and imagine if this was a headline, and let's either apply it to the NFL, the NHL, MLB, or the NBA, regardless of what it is here. And of course, this is kind of like on the topic of cheating. So the World Football Governing Body, known as FIFA, and the UNODC, which is the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, kind of like announced that they're going to be working together on a new campaign against match fixing.
Hmm.
So basically, they're looking to create a platform or an outlet, and where if there's any type of suspected shenanigans or anything like that kind of going on, that there would be kind of like a platform that people could tap into to report some type of match fixing or something like that that might be taking place here. So the fact that this was actually announced here kind of like acknowledges, in my opinion, that this does take place within the world of professional football, or soccer, not
Right, right.
American football, but European kind of like football. So I want to kind of like get your take on it, and what are your thoughts on this? I mean, again, imagine that the shoe is placed from a North American kind of like sports perspective here, and this is a headline that you're reading, and where the commissioner's office of the NHL, MLB, NBA, and National Hockey League have come together and are working with the Players Association here to address match fixing. What's going through your mind, or what runs through your head as you read like those types of headlines?
I mean, I would just be completely like disgusted in the fact that I mean, if you think about that in football, as a Lions fan, in our fandom, there's so much talk about how the fix is in against the Lions.
Yeah.
This would confirm that, and I would be like, what is the point of even watching? What's the point of doing anything at that point? Um, and so to see this in an international, long-running sport of soccer, I mean, I'd hope this is at a lower level, not World Cup or Champions Cup or Confederates Cup level or those type of things, but maybe between, regular exhibition games or something. Hopefully it's at that level where it's not really creeped into the tournaments that matter. But if it has, I mean, that's just wild, wild. And my buddy, co-host of the IDP guys, Johnny the Greek, he bets on soccer regularly. So for him to know that like before these games are even played, like the winner is decided, like he would lose it.
We might have to have him on and get his thought process on this whole thing here. But if you even take a look at the article, I mean, this was actually just put out on the 9th of December, so it's not like it's an old or an extremely old kind of like piece of news. Um, and that's one of the first things that came to my head is something that you kind of just mentioned here, which is what's the point of even watching the game if this is a even remote of a possibility?
Mm,
Um, especially hey, you know what? I'm not rushing to place a bet on a soccer match anytime, kind of like soon here, until I dive into this topic a little bit more. Not that I'd be doing so, kind of like anyway. But hey, you never know, especially if you're in
mhm.
another position in here where um, you know there's a majority of U.S. sports that kind of get shut down here, and soccer is one of the only few things that's on from a team sports perspective here. And you want to have a little fun by placing a wager here. I might think twice about it, given the
Mhm.
you know things that are taking place within the world of FIFA and soccer.
Sure. So, I guess my next question, since you run a DFS site that deals in multiple sports, does this shy you away from offering international soccer as one of your sports that you can make picks off of?
Um, I'm shying away from it at this particular point, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the potential scandal that could be taking place during like these matches. I'm more
Mhm,
shying away from it as a startup. There's just a certain um, bandwidth that I have the ability to kind of like tap into.
mhm,
Um, but I mean, look, I mean, regardless of like the article and things like that here, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that think, like you said here, the fix is in, whether it's football, baseball, or whatever it is here. And thought process that I have towards any of those people here, well, which is exactly what we're just going to kind of talk about. Well, if that's something that you truly believe in, well then don't watch the sport, because what's the
right.
point? Um, so in my heart of hearts here, I would like to think that it's not as big of a problem, but I don't think the article was that shy in disclosing that there are, issues around fixing matches or fixing games
Mhm,
in that world.
mhm. Wow. Yeah, that's a wild to kind of release that information out there and get people thinking about it because that has wide ranging ramifications. But another wide ranging ramification is the SG feature of the week. What do you got
Yeah.
for us this week?
Well, I guess we still want to kind of like talk about the statement games, kind of like VIP program. It's something new that we've just rolled out. We're excited about it. The uptake on it has been good. I'm actually pleased with the initial response of it. I think it just speaks to the account of the community that we're building, and we got some loyal diehard bunch of statement gamers out there, and I really appreciate their continued support, kind of like of the platform. So the VIP membership package is a premium package. It carries a cost of about 24. Actually, not about. It carries a cost of $24.99, but it covers you for the entire year. There will be other additional features that we add into the program as we get deeper into 2021. As of right now, we pretty much have two premium tournaments per week. Usually takes place on Sunday night and Monday night. And during these tournaments here, people have the ability to win something a little bit more than just the traditional allotment of statement games coins by finishing first, second, and third. So if you're a VIP member and you win one of these special tournaments, in addition to win the coins that you actually win, which can be exchanged for cash rewards, you will also have the ability to win the grand prize. The grand prize is always going to be featured in the tournament description. It could be tickets to an upcoming ball game of your choice, an NFL jersey, NFL apparel. Um, there are tangible, prizes and experiences that we associate with certain tournaments. You can always play in these tournaments for free, and you can always kind of compete for free. And like I had said here, compete for coins by finishing in first, second, and third, and exchanging them for rewards here. But if you are a VIP member, be the overall tournament winner, and the grand prize is yours. So basically, what you're looking to do is win one of these premium tournaments once throughout the course of the year, and you pretty much have will have more than doubled your investment,
Yeah.
and you're supporting the
So
platform in the process.
yeah. So how do people sign up for that?
So
What do they have to
basically,
do
they got
now?
to they contact us. You can
Mhm.
contact us on social media, any social media platform. It's at Statement Games, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. There's no space or anything like that, or hyphens in between Statement and Games here. It's all one word, so it's at Statement Games. So you get in contact with us, or you just drop us an email at marketing@statementgames.com, and we send you a PayPal invoice of $24.99, and one-time shot. It will hit you up, when the year is up, to see if it's something that you want to kind of continue with here. It's a great way to uh, try and get some additional stuff from the Statement Games kind of platform. You're also supporting the Statement Games platform in the same breath here. And keep in mind, it's something that we kind of need to do as a company, kind of moving forward. So there's things that we you know like to give away for free and have the ability to give away for free here, but when you start tacking on things like postage or some of like the additional costs that we get kind of hit with in order to acquire gift cards that we can kind of pass over to you here. These are all things that look, there's no way around it here. There's costs associated with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, so now part of the reason you brought me on this show was, my technical acumen, but also because, sometimes I might have to ask the hard questions. And so my question, what I'm gonna go into here is, now this changes the previous means of becoming a tournament winner. Correct. So this was something, I was a little confused about. So we're going to kind of flesh it out on the show here. The VIP program now supersedes and becomes how to become to get these prizes. So if
Correct.
the audience out there wants to be able to get the prizes of, the jersey, the tickets and everything, they have to sign up for VIP.
Correct. And this covers all the cost of, that's why we're not going to pass on any postage costs to any of the VIP members or anything like that. So that's, you know, um,
Mhm.
or any
Yeah, and
transaction fee. Yeah.
sure. So, and going into our conversation before this recording, came out of a pain point for your business. So I thought it'd be very interesting to share that. We could also talk, like, I've had pain points. Like, this is something that you identify as a business owner, entrepreneur, and you try and rectify, because you can't be giving out more money than you're taking in, because that's no longer a business, that's called a charity.
Yeah, correct. So yes, it was definitely kind of a pain point, and we understood that, hey, you know what, there was certain kind of costs that we needed to go to market with in an effort to attract them into our game, our product, you know our our services and things like that. So um, as a result of that, I mean, we've been kind of doing very similar concepts for what, the past like 2.5 kind of years, and these little things that kind of keep kind of tacking up here. But with that said here, a subscription model that we can kind of roll out to our customers is something that we've always had on the back of our minds as a business plan here. um, and we plan on kind of expanding upon those core services that we're providing now, even more as we get deeper into 2000 kind of 21. So for example, VIP members, as we get deeper into 2021 here. As of right now, if you utilize the referral system within the platform and refer a friend here, you get 10 coins added to your account, right? VIP members are going to get like 250 coins as opposed to non-VIP members who are only getting 10 coins. We're getting 10 coins for the referrals. VIP members we're going to get like 250. As of kind of like right now, everybody has the ability to log into the Statement Games platform and click the get coins kind of button and spin that wheel for an allotment of coins on a daily basis. You can do it kind of like once a day. VIP members here might have the ability to do that 2 or 3 times kind of like a day, or have their wheel total. So for example, you spin the wheel and you land on kind of like 5 here. You might actually have it 5 times a multiple of 2 or 3, and that kind of like that total will be added to your coin balance. So there's things like that that we're going to be adding to the VIP program here, all in an effort to continue to treat our VIPs like they're VIPs.
Yeah, no, I think it's an awesome subscription program to be rolling out, and I look forward to seeing like where it goes and how it evolves over the next year or so. But speaking of evolving and moving forward, let's move on to your nuggets of truth.
Yeah. Um, excuse me. So as we move forward kind of with business, I guess one of my roles or one of my responsibilities as CEO and founder of the company here is, um, look, we're out kind of like looking to raise additional capital for the business here. So I'm always out talking to investors or VCs or kind of like groups, all kind of like in an effort to you know attract capital into the business. So if you can go to the page kind of like right before that one,
Mhm.
which is the one kind of like above. There you go here. So one of the questions that I kind of like got, and it's something that I routinely get asked from investors, and it's something that I routinely get asked from um, gamers or members of the Statement Games community, which is why free to play?
Mhm.
Why is it not some type of gambling component or aspect to Statement Games? And there very well could be at some point in the future. But I wanted to kind of break this down kind of in detail because it's a big part of our story and it's a big part of the why we're doing kind of what we're doing. And that is the fact that if you take a look at the whole of the U.S. kind of market, there's probably about 350 million kind of U.S. citizens. So if you take 60% of the U.S. population, there's about 220 million people that have identified themselves as fans of sports. And if you kind of take that down and a little bit further here, we know through kind of our research that about 88 million people, or 40% of 220 million, for whatever reason it may be, they're just not ready. They're just not going to participate in some type of real money kind of gambling. It could be for a variety of different reasons here. They're not gamblers. They're just not ready to spend this discretionary income on gambling related services or products. There's economic and still some political kind of uncertainty. So they got to be cautious kind of with their dollars. So just take a look at that number and think of it and let it sink in here. 88 million people are not going to spend money on discretionary income on gambling related services here. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's not that these people aren't sports fans. It doesn't mean that they don't necessarily like to kind of compete. So when we take a look at that number, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that are being underserviced or undervalued in our opinion by kind of the gambling kind of space. So if you kind of go on to onto the next slide here, we just kind of know that you know there's a big market,
Mhm.
and the free to play kind of service is something that we will go ahead and continue to go ahead and use and leverage and continue to build the business around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes sense as far as like you've got such a wide audience, and especially this year with coronavirus implications on employment and the economy, like the gambling marketplace has to be shrinking as far as people who are willing to put up their own money into, what could be a loss. And so having that free avenue, free outlet, and being able to figure out alternative ways to monetize that, through ads, or you have your subscription program, which is, it's a negligible fee when you consider how much people spend daily when they gamble.
Exactly. Again, I can't stress it. These people are fans. They love sports. They want to go ahead and compete here. So if you can actually provide them with the service, and then look to kind of monetize off of microtransactions or ads, or basically kind of presenting them with stuff that helps them to kind of enjoy like their fanhood in an educated approach here. Hey Nate, I know that you're living up in the Northeast here, but you're a Lions fan here,
Mhm.
and because you've played in these Lions games here, I got a Lions jersey for 25% off here, or it's things like that that you can still build the business around.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we really get to the meat and potatoes of it all, this show, we get into the making picks segment, where we talk about what Statement Games is, and we do a tournament. So, Mark, tell everyone how you play.
All right. So first of all, keep in mind that your access statement games right in the upper left-hand corner. You can see it directly for yourself here. StatementGames.com, laptop, mobile browser, any type of device that has the ability to access the internet. You can access Statement Games by simply going to StatementGames.com. But then also keep in mind that there are apps that complement StatementGames.com as well. So if you're more of an app person, Apple App Store or Google Play Store, simply Statement Games Fantasy Sports, you can pull it up right there. What we're doing is we're providing you with an opportunity to play a free-to-play game. It's got a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. We're going to be talking about this Sunday night's Pittsburgh Steelers versus Buffalo Bills contest. As part of the game here, if you want to play, I'm going to present you with a list of props, so hence the company name statements that are specific to that sporting event. It's going to be about anywhere between 50 or 60 of them. You got to pick 10 of them. You're going to rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. As the game plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. You'll play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people. The person with the most points from correct picks wins. It's as simple as that.
Nice, nice. And this episode of Making Picks is brought to you by IDP Guys. They are your number one source for non-standard fantasy football. Play the contest and visit idpguys.org and step up your fantasy game. So, Mark, what's your thoughts on this Bills versus Pittsburgh game?
Okay, so for the first time, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're coming off a loss, and it's just in time to face another top AFC team in the Buffalo Bills on Sunday night at Bill Stadium. Pittsburgh is 11-1. Buffalo is 9-3. Both are very close to clinching a playoff spot. The Steelers only need a win, while the Bills are going to need to win and maybe get some help to clinch that playoff spot here. But we got plenty of football left before we need to start worrying about that. But looks like Pittsburgh can also sew up the AFC North title with a win, coupled with a Cleveland loss. So there's some stuff that's at stake leading up to the Sunday night game. The Bills have 1 or 2 straight. Looks like they're in pretty decent kind of form. So I think that this is probably one of the better Sunday night games that we have
Mm,
going on that we're probably touching upon here. I mean,
yeah.
this looks like it's a great game here. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. I think, from my perspective, I would like to see them get back to the run game a little bit more. I mean, Roethlisberger, you can't be throwing the ball 50 times a game here and expecting to win.
Mhm.
But we'll kind of see what happens. But I'm really looking forward to this game.
So, as a fan of a team in the NFC East, how did you feel about the Steelers dropping a game to the Redskins, or the football team? Sorry, excuse me. Old habits.
I'm really not too worried about it here. I mean, look, if if you're going to get upset and you can't necessarily, win a division with 6 or 7 wins, you don't deserve to be there, kind of like, anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, you've already gotten the advantage on kind of like, Washington. Washington's playing well. You
Hmm.
know that they can actually play well on the defensive, side of the ball. Rivera's kind of like, a good coach here, and you know that Alex Smith would actually be able to at least stabilize that offense from a perspective of, managing the game and not necessarily, doing anything extraordinarily dumb that's going to cost the team kind of like, any games here. So, um, I'm again as a Giant fan, kind of like, happy from a perspective of I get to watch another meaningful December kind of like, football game, and let's kind of like, see what happens. So I'm not
Yeah.
too worried about Washington. Let's let the chips, fall where they fall
Hmm.
here. Just keep winning. We'll go from there.
Yeah, no, and I was thinking about like how the Steelers were undefeated, and then there was a couple upsets from that the NFC East provided onto actually decent teams. Um, a little dig there for you, uh, it's interesting seeing what's the Steelers are going to do coming out of like that major upset where you've got one of the bottom teams taking off the top of. I mean, is there anyone above? No one else was undefeated, so they were pretty much the top of the league right there. For I don't know where they stand now, but yeah, no, it was just an interesting game, interesting to see, and I'm definitely looking forward to this. But let's play the chimes. Alrighty, so let's get into the making of the picks. So let me pull up the game here and give me your first pick.
All right. So, I mean, you've had plenty of exposure to this player, given his time with Detroit here, and
Mhm.
I think it's a very similar player to what I'm actually seeing with Evan Ingram, kind of like with the Giants here. So, you're gonna get feast of famine with him over here. Buffalo playing well, kind of like, on defense here. So let me just kind of get straight into it here. I'm gonna take Eric Ebron under 40.5 receiving yards.
Ooh, alrighty, yeah, no, I like it. I'd also take the under on reception since his hands are
I
good.
just think that I literally think against Washington, Roethlisberger had over 50 pass kind of attempts here. So I think from a kind of like a coaching perspective here, they're going to consciously try and do a better job in running the ball.
Mhm.
Obviously, that means some less balls to go around. Pittsburgh as a team has been plagued with drops. I think they actually had 7 drops
Mhm.
in the game kind of like against Washington. So the one way to eliminate the drops here is to throw the ball less here. So I think they'll use Eric Ebron as the sacrificial lamb and go with the under 40.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, that's a good choice, especially since Eric Ebron accounted for most of those drops. So, and he has for the last many years. But speaking of the run game, I'm going to take James Conner, and I'm going over a half a rushing touchdown. That is so low to me that I think that if they're gonna reestablish the run, I think that he's got a very good chance of getting that um, singular touchdown at least.
Okay.
Go for yours.
Let's see here. So, Josh Allen, I know he's got 8 INTs over the course of the year, um, but he is kind of like I mean, would you say that? I think the last game that he actually had here was one of his, well, last couple of games here has been some of the better performances that we've actually seen from him here, and you can actually start making the argument, or more of a better argument, that he is evolving into, dare I say, an elite quarterback in the NFL. So because he's actually playing well, and I just like the way or the momentum that the Buffalo offense is kind of like on here. Um, and I'm just I'm gonna go with the fact that I don't think the Buffalo offense is going to make that many mistakes on Sunday night here. So I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers defense under 1.5 turnovers.
All right. I like that. That's pretty good. I'm going to go on the Bills offensive side with the wide receivers. And I think that Stefon Diggs is a major player. And I think that they're going to need to rely on him a little bit for this game. So I'm going Stefon Diggs over 67.5 yards receiving. And what's your
Excuse me.
last pick there? There, I'll go last. I'll go
Yeah,
let
let
you
me just
get.
get a little sip here. Thanks.
Yeah. So my last one is going to be Beasley and Diggs are going to combine for over 9.5 touchdowns because I think
I like that one.
they're going to need to air the ball out a little bit with this defense, and 9.5 receptions between these two guys that generally can pull in some good balls is a decent over under. So I'll take the over on that. And what's your last one there?
All right, so for the last pick here, I know 50 attempts last week. Uh, that needs to be reduced here, but I don't think it's going to be reduced by more than half. So
Mhm.
let me lock into Ben Roethlisberger. Um, Let me lock into Ben Roethlisberger over 23.5 completions.
Alrighty, nice. All right, cool. That's I'll fill out the rest of this, and if anyone is out there playing in this tournament, this is going to be the contest one, and you see Nathan Ryder, know that that's Mark and I playing as a team, and you'll be playing against us. So it's always fun to
And
see
give us some
how we
comments.
do.
Let me know what you think of our picks, what you like or dislike, or hopefully you have an opportunity to jump into one of these games and just hey, we read all comments that kind of come through here. So any feedback that
Yep.
you can give us, good or bad, on what you like or dislike about statement games is always greatly appreciated.
Yeah. All right. With that, we're closing out episode number 7. Follow us at Statement Games on all social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Statement Games Inc., and play statementgames.com. We'll see you out there.